All right, so today we're back with another Paris Corner fragrance. This is going to be another fragrance within their Mawj collection, and this is Mawj Moscow Mule. All right, so I want to say a little bit after I had picked up the Mawj Appletini, I did see this fragrance pop up, the Moscow Mule. I believe I saw it on like fragbar.com. And the reason that I didn't immediately pick this fragrance up was because just based off of the name, I kind of assumed that this was like a vodka on the rocks, sort of inspiration. So that was the reason why I didn't really pick this fragrance up. But once I started seeing that this was actually their interpretation of Blue Moon Ginger Dash, that's when I really got excited because that was a fragrance that when it came out, I want to say like around the summer of last year or so, it was a fragrance that I was really excited about, but I never actually got my nose on it to smell it. And obviously, I didn't purchase that fragrance because it was only available for like a limited time. So I'm really happy that, Paris Corner decided to, make their interpretation of the fragrance. And I mean, overall, I really do enjoy this fragrance a lot. All right. So in terms of the presentation here, as you can see, it's the same presentation that you're getting with the Mawj Appletini, just like a different color and obviously the different name. But you have the Paris Corner logo on the top of the box there. You've got like this checkered design on both sides. And then on the front here, you got Moscow Mule, Mawj. On the back, you've got Mawj, the Paris Corners authenticity sticker, as well as like the QR code. And then on the bottom, you've got the manufacturer date, the ingredients, and then like the barcode. All right. Just like the Appletini box, this opens up like that, and then the bottle sits in here. And I really do like the way that this bottle looks, man. It's like a frosted kind of glass here with blue juice inside of it. So I really, really do like the way that this looks, man, a lot. And I do like this line overall from Paris Corner. Obviously, I had really, really high marks on the Appletini from Paris Corner, which is, their take on apple brandy on the rocks. I think that this was a really good twist on that, sort of scent profile. This to me, it lasted longer and, definitely gave me better projection as well than what, apple brandy on the rocks did. So I was really happy about that one. And I'm pretty happy about this fragrance as well, man. So before I actually got my sample of the original Blue Moon Ginger Dash by Kilian, this fragrance, I had wore this several times and I was really, really loving it. Especially like the first time that I sprayed it, I was like, wow, this smells really, really good. It kind of smells like a more sort of citrusy, brighter, lighter version of like Acqua di Gio Profumo, in my opinion. I mean, it has that same sort of feel, in my opinion, as something like Profumo. But like I said, again, this is going to be a lot more citrusy, a lot brighter, zingier, in my opinion. Whereas the Acqua di Gio is definitely going to be a much darker, denser sort of fragrance that, it's like an all year round kind of aquatic style fragrance. This to me, I don't necessarily think that this is like an aquatic style fragrance. It's more of kind of like a citrus style fragrance. Now, like I said, when I first got this, I was very happy with the way this smelled. But there are some differences between this and the original fragrance. And that's definitely apparent in the notes. So for the top notes of the original Blue Moon Ginger Dash, you have top notes of lemon, kalon, aldehydes, and mint. And then in the mid, you have ginger and vodka. In the base, you have ambroxan and white musk. All right. So it is going to be slightly different for the Mawj fragrance. All right. For the Mawj fragrance, you have top notes of lemon, ginger, and bergamot. In the mid, you have herbaceous notes, cypress, and mint. And in the base, you have ozonic notes, ambery notes, and moss. All right. So definitely some differences there. But I mean, in terms of the smell, they are very similar. Now, the one thing that you'll notice when you spray the Mawj Moscow Mule on, and the by Kilian's Blue Moon Ginger Dash, in the immediate opening Blue Moon Ginger Dash, the quality on that fragrance is going to be noticeably higher than what the Mawj fragrance is. So you are going to get more of sort of an alcohol blast with the Mawj fragrance. It is going to come off as being a little bit more rougher, more aggressive than what the Blue Moon Ginger Dash will. The Blue Moon Ginger Dash is just a very well blended, super smooth, citrusy, fresh fragrance. It really is. And here, this is, I think, the two right here. So yeah, the difference that I noticed between the Blue Moon Ginger Dash and this fragrance are, like I said again, the alcohol blast that you get, and then also the blend of the notes. So with the Blue Moon Ginger Dash, to me, you're not necessarily picking up on one thing over the other, in terms of like the top or the mid notes in that fragrance. Whereas with the Mawj Moscow Mule, you're picking up on a lot of lemon with this fragrance for sure. In my opinion, a lot of lemon and bergamot, and then you're not getting that same sort of watery kind of melon like Kilian note that you get from the by Kilian either. So that kind of adds like a really sort of nice, smooth, natural sort of sweetness to the Blue Moon Ginger Dash that the Mawj Moscow Mule doesn't have. So to me, the Moscow Mule, it comes off as slightly more tart than what the by Kilian Blue Moon Ginger Dash does. Overall, man, the Blue Moon Ginger Dash is it's a better fragrance, in terms of quality, in terms of smell. I would say performance wise, this one, at some point does actually do a little bit better, in my opinion, than the Blue Moon Ginger Dash does. But overall, I do think that the Blue Moon Ginger Dash is the better fragrance between the two. But, again, Blue Moon Ginger Dash was a limited release. So if you are able to find that fragrance, which it is pretty readily available on sites like eBay, but I don't know exactly how much that's going for right now, but I'm pretty sure it's like over 200, for a brand new bottle of that fragrance, which is only, I think, a 50 ml bottle. This is a 100 ml bottle, and this was only $40 from Aroma Concepts. So, obviously, there's not going to be the same level of quality in this fragrance than, what there is in the by Kilian. But I think considering the price difference, this fragrance does come very close, and it is very much enjoyable when, compared to the original fragrance. Now, for performance, the performance on this, in my opinion, it is slightly better than what Blue Moon Ginger Dash is. So in terms of like projection, for like the first hour and a half or so, this is going to be about the same as Blue Moon Ginger Dash. But then after like that first hour and a half, I feel like Blue Moon Ginger Dash comes a lot more closer to your skin than what this does. This still pushes out a lot more than what Blue Moon Ginger Dash does after about that first hour and a half. So that's one thing that I noticed about this fragrance. And then also the longevity on this was really, really good for like a really fresh, bright, citrusy type of fragrance. I mean, I got over 10 hours with this fragrance the first time I sprayed it. Now, mind you, this particular bottle here, this was actually manufactured at the beginning of this year. So this has a manufacture date of January of this year. So, I mean, this bottle has kind of sat for a while. So I think that, maybe this bottle has definitely, it's already been, sort of maturated. But yeah, man, this did definitely perform a lot better than what I was expecting it to, for like this sort of scent profile. Like I said, it's a really citrusy, slightly kind of musky, zingy type of fragrance. Typically, you can only kind of expect fragrances like that to last like maybe around 6 hours, at the most, maybe 7 to really be pushing it. But this fragrance easily, I got over 10 hours with this easily. All right. So, performance wise, this one was pretty good, man. In terms of just the overall, sort of closeness to the original fragrance, this I would have to give an 85 out of 100. It's not exactly the same. Like I said, that Kilian note, in the opening is definitely missing. So this does miss out on, some of that really sort of smooth, soothing sort of sweetness, that you get from the original fragrance. And also, I mean, I think the ginger and some of the other aspects of the fragrance, of Blue Moon Ginger Dash anyway, are definitely higher quality than this. But I mean, this still comes pretty close, especially in the dry down. Once you start to, get into more of that sort of like ambroxan and musky sort of, smell that the fragrance has after a while, and slightly kind of gingery as well. This to me recreates the dry down pretty well. So I would say overall, like the opening is probably more kind of like 80% close. But then I would say the dry down is more like 90+% close. So, again, overall, I would give this one about an 85% closeness rating. And then just overall rating in terms of how much I enjoy this fragrance, this is easily a 9 out of 10 for sure. Do I prefer the original fragrance over this, in terms of smell? Absolutely, I do. Would I purchase the original fragrance if I could find that fragrance for a reasonable price and get rid of this fragrance? Yes, I would. But if I can't find the Blue Moon Ginger Dash for like well under $200, so I'm talking anywhere from like 150 to 170, if I can't find that fragrance for around that sort of price, then I would be more than happy to just hold on to the Moscow Mule and wear this fragrance, because this still smells amazing in the air, and it is a really, really refreshing fragrance to wear, in my opinion, on, like a really hot day. All right. So this is a very, very good fragrance. I would say probably for most people, this is going to be good enough for most of them, because again, with Blue Moon Ginger Dash being a fragrance that you can't just go out and like buy from, Macy's or Nordstrom or something like that, most people are probably not going to, smell the original fragrance, and they're not going to spend, inflated prices on buying the fragrance because it's discontinued. So most people are going to have access to this. And I think, as long as you smell this fragrance and this is all you smell, and you don't necessarily go looking to see how close it comes to the original, I think you'll be absolutely happy with the way that this fragrance smells, and you'll be happy with keeping this fragrance. Also, again, if you're someone who doesn't want to spend the extra money, you'll be happy with this fragrance. But overall, I do think that the original fragrance, it is the better fragrance over this one. All right. So that's my take on Paris Corner's Mawj Moscow Mule. Again, I think this is a really, really solid fragrance, and definitely one that I intend to, if I still have this fragrance, next summer and next spring, definitely intend to wear this one for sure. Like I said, I'll be looking to see if I can get the original Blue Moon Ginger Dash for a reasonable price, but if I can't, then I'm definitely rocking this one for sure. All right. So let me know in the comments what you all think about Mawj Moscow Mule from Paris Corner. Let me know if you all agree with my assessment of how close this comes to the original fragrance, if you smelled it. And also let me know if you love this fragrance. Do you just like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.